The rain hammered the windshield like it had a personal grudge, turning the highway into a blurry smear of taillights and regret. I slammed on the brakes just in time, skidding into the gravel driveway of Mason's folks' place in that godforsaken corner of Ohio where the cornfields stretched out like accusations. "Fuck," I muttered, killing the engine, my heart pounding not from the near miss but from the voicemail I'd ignored 3 hours back. Dad's voice, slurred and sharp. "Alex, you come home tonight, or don't bother coming home at all." I grabbed my duffel from the passenger seat, the one stuffed with clean socks and lies, and bolted for the porch light that flickered like a hesitant welcome. Mason flung the door open before I could knock, his grin wide and whiskey bright under the yellow bulb. "Dude, you made it. Thought the storm would have swallowed you whole." He clapped me on the back, pulling me into the mudroom that smelled of wet dog and microwave pizza. Mason, my best friend since we were scrawny kids stealing smokes from his old man's glove box, always had this way of making the world feel smaller, safer. Tonight, I needed that more than air. We crashed through the kitchen, where his mom waved from the sink, suds up to her elbows, and his dad grunted at the TV blaring some ESPN highlight reel. Upstairs, Mason's room was a time capsule. Posters of Nirvana peeling at the edges, a half-built model spaceship on the dresser gathering dust. "Party was a bust without you," he said, cracking open a couple of Millers from the mini-fridge he'd salvaged from college. We sprawled on his bed, trading stories about the girls we'd struck out with, Mason's latest flame, a barista named Riley who ghosted him after one makeout sesh. My own string of awkward Tinder dates that ended with polite handshakes. Lies. Mostly. The truth was, I'd been staring at guys in the gym mirror longer than I cared to admit, wondering what it would feel like if one of them stared back. The beer hit fast on an empty stomach, and the storm outside turned vicious, thunder rattling the windows like it was trying to break in. Mason was mid-rant about his boss at the auto shop. "Swear to God, Alex, if he docks my pay one more time for being 5 minutes late." When his phone buzzed, he glanced at it, face falling. "Shit. Riley's blowing me up again. Says she wants to talk." He stood, pacing like a caged animal. "You cool if I step out for a sec? Back porch." "Won't be long." "Yeah, man. Go fix your drama." I waved him off, already sinking deeper into the mattress, the kind that's seen too many all-nighters. The room spun gently as he slipped out, door clicking shut behind him. Exhaustion clawed at me. The drive from Cleveland, the fight with Dad over getting my shit together at 24, the gnawing secret I'd buried under layers of straight guy bravado. My eyelids drooped, and before I knew it, I was out, the world fading to black. I don't know how long I slept. Maybe 20 minutes, maybe an hour, but when I stirred, the room felt different. Warmer. The bed dipped beside me, a subtle shift that sent my pulse racing before my brain caught up. I cracked one eye open, expecting Mason's snoring face or an empty space. Instead, there was George. George Hargrove, Mason's older brother by 3 years, the one who'd shipped off to the Marines right out of high school and come back with tattoos snaking up his arms and eyes that looked like they'd seen too much sand and too little mercy. He was propped on one elbow, watching me with that quiet intensity he always had, like he was sizing up an enemy line. His hair was cropped short, still damp from the rain, and he wore a faded USMC tee that clung to his chest in the humid air. "Hey," he said, voice low and rough, like gravel under tires. "Mason said you crashed. Figured you'd want company." I bolted upright, heart slamming against my ribs. "What the George? I thought you were still stationed in Wherever the hell. Got out 6 months ago. Dishonorable. Technically. He shrugged. But there was no casual in his eyes, steel gray. Stormy as the sky outside. Long story. Involves a superior officer who couldn't keep his hands to himself. The words hung there, heavy, and something twisted in my gut. Not pity, recognition. I'd read the stories, the whispers in the barracks about guys like us getting drummed out for conduct unbecoming. Sorry, I mumbled, rubbing the back of my neck, suddenly hyper-aware of the sweat-damp sheet between us. The bed was queen-sized, plenty of room, but he hadn't scooted over. If anything, he'd inched closer, his knee brushing mine like an accident that wasn't. Didn't mean to hog the whole thing. You're good. His gaze flicked to my mouth, then away, quick as a sniper's scope. Storm's bad. Mason's out there chain-smoking, probably spilling his guts to Riley. Thought I'd check on you. He lay back then, hands laced behind his head, staring at the ceiling fan whirring lazy circles. The mattress settled under his weight, pulling me toward him like gravity had shifted. I should have moved. Rolled to the edge. Cracked a joke. Anything to kill the charge crackling in the air. But I didn't. I lay there, inches from a man who just admitted, without saying it, that he knew my kind of hell. We talked, or half-talked, the words stumbling out in the dark. About the core, how it chews you up and spits you out if you're not the right flavor of straight. About Cleveland, how the steel mills were ghosts now, and Dad's garage was all that kept our heads above water. About Mason, the golden boy who thought life was a John Mellencamp song. George's laugh was rare, a low rumble that vibrated through the bed frame when I mimicked Mason's terrible two-step at last summer's barbecue. Kids got heart, he said. More than me. You're full of shit. I shot back, emboldened by the beer haze. You flew halfway around the world for strangers. That's heart. He turned his head, eyes locking on mine, and the room narrowed to that stare. Not all strangers. His hand moved then, slow, deliberate, fingers grazing my arm, tracing the vein that pulsed under my skin. I froze, breath catching, every nerve firing like I'd touched a live wire. Alex, he murmured, my name sounding like a confession. You ever wonder what it'd be like if things were different? I swallowed hard, the storm outside mirroring the one in my chest. Every damn day, and then, because the world was ending or beginning or both, I closed the gap. Our lips met tentative, tasting of rain and risk, his stubble rough against my jaw. It was clumsy at first, teeth clacking, breaths mingling in panic. But then he angled his head, hand cupping the back of my neck, and it ignited. Deep, hungry, like we'd both been starving for years. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed together, the fans hum the only sound besides our ragged breathing. This is fucked, I whispered, but my body screamed the opposite, arching toward him like a magnet. Yeah, George agreed, thumb brushing my cheek. But it's ours. Down the hall, a door slammed, Mason, back from his porch confessional. We sprang apart like guilty teens, me rolling to the far edge, him sitting up straight as a recruit. Mason burst in, dripping wet, oblivious. Storm's a bitch. Riley's history said I'm too clingy. Can you believe that shit? He flopped down at the foot of the bed, oblivious to the electric aftermath. I forced a laugh, heart still thundering. Her loss, bro. But as Mason rambled on, George's eyes met mine over his shoulder, Dark promise. Shadowed warning. Nothing was the same. And in that Ohio bedroom, with thunder shaking the foundations, I didn't want it to be. The next morning dawned sticky and false, sunlight slicing through the blinds like Judgment Day. I woke to the smell of bacon frying downstairs, Mason's snores rattling from the floor where he'd passed out after one too many. George was gone, his side of the bed cool and empty, but the imprint lingered, a ghost of warmth that made my skin flush. I lay there, staring at the water stain on the ceiling that looked like a question mark, replaying the night in fragments. His hand on my neck, the way he tasted like salt and secrets, the terror-laced thrill when Mason's footsteps echoed in the hall. Downstairs, the kitchen was domestic chaos. Mrs. Hargrove, call her Linda, she'd insisted last night, hustled eggs onto plates while Mr. Hargrove nursed his coffee, newspaper folded to the sports section. Mason was already shoveling food, grease shining on his chin. Morning, sunshine, he called as I shuffled in, hair a wreck. You look like you wrestled a bear. Something like that, I muttered, sliding into a chair. George was there, at the end of the table, fork paused mid-air, his gaze sliding over me casual as coffee cream. But I caught the flicker, the memory in his eyes, the subtle flex of his jaw. Hey, man, I said, voice steady by sheer will. Hey, he nodded, popping a strip of bacon like it was nothing. Linda set a plate in front of me, heaped with enough cholesterol to clog an artery. Eat up, Alex. Boys your age need fuel. She ruffled my hair, maternal in that Midwestern way that made you feel seen and smothered all at once. Breakfast blurred into small talk, Mr. Hargrove grumbling about gas prices, Mason plotting our day at the lake, George silent mostly, his boot nudging mine under the table once, twice, a Morse code of heat. I nodded along, fork scraping porcelain, but my mind was elsewhere. What now? One kiss didn't make us anything, but it cracked the dam. I'd spent years building walls, flirting with girls at parties, laughing off the crushes on teammates in high school locker rooms. Dad's voice echoed, man up, son. This world's tough enough without your bullshit. But George's touch had whispered the opposite. You're not alone. After dishes, Mason dragged me to the garage for bro time, cracking open toolboxes like they held the secrets to the universe. We tinkered on his truck, an '89 Ford that coughed like a chain smoker, grease smearing our hands black. So, he said, wiping sweat from his brow with a rag, you sticking around? Dad's got that old canoe. We could hit the lake, drown some worms. Sounds solid. I tightened a bolt, avoiding his eyes. Mason was easy, always had been. The guy who'd covered for me when I puked in the principal's office, who'd split his last 20 for gas money when I was broke. Betraying him? The thought twisted like a knife. George was his blood, the brother he'd idolized since they were kids building forts in the backyard. If Mason knew. A shadow fell over the open garage door. George, leaning against the frame, arms crossed, muscles shifting under his tank top. Need a hand. His voice was neutral, but his eyes on me were anything but. Mason straightened, grinning. Hell yeah. Alternators being a prick again. He tossed George a wrench, and just like that, we were three, tools clanging in rhythm. George worked efficient, marine honed, his shoulder brushing mine as he reached for a socket. Sparks jumped, not from the engine, but from the contact. I bit my lip, focusing on the fan belt, But every inhale brought his scent. Soap and motor oil, heady as sin. By noon, the truck purred to life, and we piled in Mason shotgun, me in the back with a cooler of beers. The lake was 20 minutes out, a glassy spot called Whispering Pines where locals fished and fucked off equal measure. George drove, one hand on the wheel, the other drumming the dash to Springsteen crackling from the radio. Born to run, ironic as hell. I caught his eyes in the rear view, a shared secret smile that made my stomach flip. At the lake, we beached the truck and cracked cans, the water lapping lazy at the shore. Mason stripped to boxers and cannonballed in, whooping like a kid. George and I lingered on the bank, skipping stones, the silence companionable at first. Then he said, low enough Mason wouldn't hear over his splashes, last night wasn't a fluke. My stone sank flat. No. But Mason doesn't have to know. George's hand found mine behind the cooler, fingers lacing tight. Rough palms, calluses from rifles and regrets. Not yet. This is us, Alex. Just breathing room. I squeezed back, pulse roaring. Okay, lies we told ourselves, but in that sun-dappled moment, felt like truth. The afternoon stretched golden, beers flowing, laughter echoing off the pines. Mason hauled us in for a splash fight, water flying, bodies colliding in innocent chaos. George's leg pressed against mine underwater, deliberate, electric. When we toweled off, shivering in the breeze, he draped his over my shoulders. Casual, brotherly. But his whisper, hot against my ear, tonight. After he crashes. I nodded, water dripping from my lashes, the world tilting toward inevitable. Dusk painted the lake rust red, the kind of sky that promised wildfires in your dreams. We packed up sloppy, cooler sloshing, towels tangled, climbing back into the truck with sun-baked skin and loose tongues. Mason rode the high, belting Tom Petty off-key, arms slung out the window like he owned the wind. George drove steady, but his eyes kept finding mine in the mirror, dark hooks pulling me under. I pressed my forehead to the cool glass, fighting the ache building low in my belly. This wasn't just attraction. It was a reckoning, the kind that rewires your soul. Back at the house, Linda had fired up the grill, steak sizzling, corn wrapped in foil hissing on the coals. Mr. Hargrove manned the tongs, beer in hand, while Mason and I set the picnic table under the string lights that swayed like fireflies. George hovered at the edges, fetching plates, his presence a magnetic field bending everything toward him. Dinner was loud. Familial stories of George's boot camp mishaps, the time he barfed during gas chamber drills, Mason's high school football glory days, my own sanitized tales from the city. Cleveland's got that edge, Linda said, passing the potatoes. But don't let it grind you down, honey. Family's what keeps you whole. Her words landed like stones in still water. I glanced at George, carving his steak methodical, and wondered what fractures hid under his calm. The dishonorable discharge. He'd skimmed it at breakfast, but the weight lingered, unspoken shrapnel. After plates cleared, Mason suggested cards, poker in the den, stakes high on who washed dishes. We sprawled on the worn carpet, aces slapping down, laughter spiking with each bluff called. George sat across from me, knees tented, his foot finding mine under the coffee table. A game within the game. Pressure. Release. The thrill of almost getting caught. Mason folded bad hands with dramatic curses, oblivious, his world still revolving around straight lines and simple wants. Mid-hand, the power flickered, storm's aftershock, lights buzzing dim then steady. Creepy as hell, Mason muttered, dealing the next round. George won that pot, raking in pretzels with a smirk that was all for me. Luck's a bitch, he said, but his eyes said different. This is us winning. Night deepened, cards giving way to yawns. Mason stretched, cracking his back. I'm beat. That lake kicked my ass. He clapped my shoulder. Couch is yours, Alex. Or bunk with me if you snore less than Dad. Upstairs thuds followed, his door shutting, the house sighing into quiet. I lingered in the den, stacking chips, pulse a drumbeat. George's shadow fell long. Kitchen, he murmured, brushing past. I followed, heart in my throat, the hallway stretching endless. The kitchen was moonlit, counters gleaming silver. He leaned against the sink, arms crossed, waiting. Couldn't stop thinking about you all day. No preamble, just raw truth. He closed the distance, hands framing my face, thumbs tracing my jaw. Our kiss this time was fire, urgent, tongues tangling, his body pinning me to the fridge with a thud that echoed too loud. I gasped into his mouth, fingers digging into his hips, the hard line of him pressing insistent. George, I breathed, half protest, half prayer. Shoo, he nipped my earlobe, voice gravel. Upstairs. Guest room. We moved like thieves, stairs creaking under hushed steps, his hand in mine a lifeline. The guest room was musty, bed sagging under faded quilts, but it was sanctuary. Door locked, click like a vow, we stripped frantic, clothes pooling on the floor. His body was a map of battles, ink-black tattoos curling over scars faint as whispers, abs carved from discipline, thighs thick with power. I traced them reverent, lips following fingers, learning him inch by inch. He was gentle at first, kisses trailing my collarbone, hands mapping my chest, my waist, lower. Beautiful, he murmured against my skin, voice breaking. Then urgency took over, body slick and seeking, the bed frame protesting our rhythm. It was messy, profound, sweat and sighs, the world reduced to his name on my tongue, mine on his. Climax hit like thunder, leaving us tangled, bent, hearts hammering in sync. We lay after, his head on my chest, fingers idly stroking my side. First time since. Everything, he confessed, voice small. The discharge. It was him, my CO. Cornered me in the showers. I fought, but they called it fraternizing. Said I led him on. The words cracked open old wounds, his body tensing under my touch. Fuckers. Rage boiled hot. You didn't deserve that. No. He lifted his head, eyes searching mine. But you make it feel like I could deserve better. Vulnerability stripped him bare, more intimate than sex. I kissed him slow, pouring absolution into it. Dawn crept in too soon, gray light filtering shame. We dressed quiet, stealing touches, a brush of knuckles, a lingering gaze. Breakfast, he said, like it was normal. But as we parted in the hall, Mason's door still shut, I felt the fracture lines forming. Secrets have weight, ours was growing heavy. The day unfolded lazy, a Sunday haze of coffee and crosswords. Mason emerged rumpled, raiding the fridge for leftovers. You two look like you pulled an all-nighter, he teased, oblivious. George and I exchanged glances, heat under the surface. We hit the backyard for touch football, Hargrove family ritual, grass worn thin from years of it. Mason quarterbacked, barking plays like he was back in pads. George and I teamed up, bodies colliding in tackles that lingered a beat too long. His arm around my waist to steady me after a hit, breath hot on my neck. Got you. Bruises bloomed later, badges of play and more. Lunch was sandwiches on the porch, talk turning to futures. Mason dreamed big, saving for a shop of his own, maybe a family someday. Riley was practice, he said, wistful. Need the real deal. George nodded, but his hand under the table squeezed my thigh, anchor in the storm of what-ifs. Afternoon brought rain again, pattering the tin roof like impatient fingers. We retreated inside, Mason firing up the Xbox for some co-op shooter. George begged off errands, but cornered me in the laundry room, door ajar just enough for risk. Quick, fierce, mouths crashing, hands roaming. Can't get enough, he growled, pulling back flushed. Tonight, God. Yes, promise sealed. He slipped out, truck rumbling away. Mason paused the game, tossing me a controller. What's with you? Distracted as hell. Just thinking about heading back tomorrow. Lie tasted bitter. Leaving meant unraveling this, whatever it was. He punched my arm light. Stay another day. Bro code. I nodded, screen blurring as pixels exploded. Guilt gnawed. Mason, the constant, and me, stealing his brother's shadow. Evening crept in with takeout pizza, beers, and a movie, some dumb action flick with explosions masking our undercurrents. George returned late, smelling of rain and regret, sliding onto the couch beside me, thigh pressed firm. Mason dozed midway, head lolling, popcorn bowl tipping. George's hand found my zipper slow, teasing, eyes daring. I stifled a groan, world narrowing to his touch, expert, unhurried. Release came silent, shattering, his lips on my neck muffling my gasp. Love you like this, he whispered, withdrawing, casual as if he'd passed the salt. Love. The word hung, too big, too soon. But in the flicker of the TV, it rooted deep. Midnight found us in the guest room again, slower this time, exploring, confessing. He talked Marines, sandstorms in Fallujah, buddies lost to IEDs. The night he realized his CO's mentoring was predation. Broke me, he admitted, voice raw. Till you, I shared my own ghosts. Dad's rages after Mom left, the high school coach who joked about my soft throws, the endless parade of women I faked interest in. Felt like drowning, I said. His arms tightened. Shelter. Sleep came tangled, his heartbeat my lullaby. But dreams twisted. Mason's face, betrayed, storming away, Dad's fist through the wall, George's dog tags clinking as he shipped out again. Morning shattered it. Mason banged on the door at 7, voice urgent. Alex, truck won't start. George, you up? We scrambled, clothes on crooked, sheets straightened frantic. George cracked the door, blocking view. On it, casual, but sweat beaded his brow. In the garage, we three huddled over the engine, tools clinking tense. Mason chattered obliv. Must have flooded it last night, but I caught George's glances, loaded. Mid-wrench, his fingers brushed mine deliberate, a spark in the oil-slick air. Then Mason's phone rang. Riley. Again. He stepped away, voice low, pleading. George seized the moment, pulling me behind the truck bed. Last night was. Kiss. Hard. Claiming. Come back soon. Promise. But as he pulled away, doubt flickered. This fire, how long before it burned us all? The fix took hours. Sun climbing hot. By lunch, the truck coughed alive. Mason whooping victory. Oh you, bro, he said to George, clapping his back. Brotherly, pure. My chest ached. Afternoon was packing. My duffel zipped. Excuses thin. Work calls. I lied to Linda's hug. Mason walked me to the car. Bear hug tight. Don't be a stranger, man. This place is yours. Always. Throat thick. I slid behind the wheel. George lingered in the doorway. Hands in pockets. Nod subtle, see you. The drive blurred. Rain-slick roads. Radio droning country heartbreak. Cleveland loomed. Dad's garage a beacon of normalcy. But nothing fit anymore. George's texts lit my phone. Miss you already. Drive safe. Heart emoji. Risky. Real. That night, alone in my apartment, I scrolled his pics, stolen from Mason's feed. George grinning in desert fatigues. Fingered the screen like Braille. Me too, I replied. Soon. But soon twisted. Days bled to weeks. Texts evolving. Flirty to filthy. Longing laced with logistics. Come down, he'd urge. Mason's working doubles. I did. Twice weekend raids. Stealing hours in motels off I-71. Bodies frantic. Hearts sinking deeper. Fall crept in. Leaves turning blood orange. Mirroring the heat. One night. Post-love in a Super 8. Tangled in cheap sheets. He said it full. I love you, Alex. Not in the haze, but clear-eyed. Post-climax glow. Panic and joy ward. Love you too. Truth. Terrifying. We planned. Maybe I'd move closer. Or he'd chase jobs in Cleveland. Dreams. Fragile as frost. Then betrayal's shadow fell. Mason called. Casual. Hey. Heading your way for the game. Browns versus Steelers. You in. Shit. George and I hadn't synced alibis. Yeah. Man. Crash here. He arrived Friday. Duffel slung. Grin wide. Beers. Tailgate stories. The stadium roar a bomb. But under it, George's ghost, his last text. Wish I was there. Be good. Saturday. Mason crashed early. Jet lag from the drive. I scrolled George's feed. Heart light. When my phone buzzed. Not him. Unknown number. A photo. George. Lips on some guy's neck. Bar neon behind. Caption. Who's the side piece now? Ice in veins. Who? Stolen phone? Hack? But the angle intimate. Damning. Confront. Wait. Mason stirred in the next room. Snoring innocent. I deleted it. Hand shaking. Lies compounding. Monday. George's call. Missed you. Voice warm. Unwitting. Missed you too. But the photo burned. Doubt's ember. Weeks later. Truth crashed. Another visit to Ohio stolen weekend. George met me at a diner. Eyes lighting like always. But in the booth. My phone lit up. Mason's text. Dude. What's this? Attached. Same photo. Forwarded from God knows where. George paled. Snatching it. That's not. Alex. It's fake. Some asshole from the core. Photoshop bullshit. Payback for the discharge. Prove it. Voice steal. But cracking. He showed his phone log. No unknowns. Drove me to his therapist's office. Records of harassment post-discharge. Online trolls, he explained. Voice breaking. They dig. They twist. Relief flooded. But scar remained. Mason saw. Fuck. George's head dropped. How bad? Thinks it's you screwing around. On him? No, wait. He thinks it's me. Sending pics to mess with him. Laughter bubbled. Hysterical. We collapsed into it. Tension shattering. But the close call echoed. Secrets fray. Winter bit hard. Snow blanketing Ohio white. Christmas loomed. Hargrove invite extended. Mason insistent. Family. Man. Dad's carving the turkey. George texted separate. Come. Be mine under the mistletoe. I went. Heart full. The house glowed. Lights twinkling. Pine scent thick. Linda's hugs. Mr. Hargrove's gruff handshake. Mason bear hugged. No photo grudge lingering. He chalked it to spam. Dinner was feast. Turkey golden. Pies steaming. Toasts rang to health. To home. George's foot hooked mine under the table. Anchor. Post-feast. Carols droned. Eggnog flowed. Mason passed out early. You'll log flickering. George pulled me to the attic. Dusty boxes. Forgotten toys. Merry Christmas, he murmured, pressing a chain into my palm. His dog tags. Engraved G. Hargrove. George. Throat tight. Yours now. Kiss under bare bulb. Slow burn sweet. We made love on an old blanket amid Christmas ghosts. Vows whispered in the dark. New Year dawned crisp. Resolutions fragile. Back in Cleveland, Dad cornered me over breakfast. Pancakes cold. Saw you mooning over that phone. Girl troubles. Worse. Half-truth. Life, he grunted, flipping the paper. Don't let it break you, son. Fight for what's yours. Prophetic. Unwitting. Because February brought the storm. February in Ohio is a cruel joke. Gray skies spitting sleet. Wind howling like it's got a vendetta against hope. I hunkered in my apartment. Heater rattling against the chill. Scrolling George's texts like scripture. Snowed in. Wish you were here to warm me up. Attached. A shirtless selfie. Tattoos glistening from a post-shower rub. I grinned, firing back a mirror pic of my own. Jeans low. V-line teasing. Flirty foreplay. Miles be damned. But work ground me down. Double shifts at the machine shop. Oil under nails. Boss riding my ass about quotas. Dad's garage was slow. Winter killing custom jobs. So I picked up overtime to fund our escapes, motel tabs. Gas for midnight drives. Mason called midweek. Voice buzzing. Yo, Alex, big news. Riley's back. Says she made a mistake. Drinks Friday. Congrats. Man. Forced cheer. Riley. The ex who clingy ghosted him. Round 2. Tell her not to fuck it up. We met at O'Malley's. Dive bar staple, neon Miller signs buzzing. Jukebox crooning Willie Nelson. Mason arrived arm in arm with her. All giggles and glow. Beers flowed. Shots chased. Stories spilling. She's the one, he slurred, kissing her sloppy. I toasted, stomach twisting, not jealousy, but envy. Their ease, public and uncomplicated. Me, sneaking shadows with his brother. Riley excused to the ladies. Mason leaned in, eyes glassy. Thanks for sticking by me, bro. Through all the bullshit. Always. Handshake firm. But his words lingered. Loyalty's blade. Double-edged. Saturday. I fled south. 3-hour haul through slush. Radio blasting to drown doubts. George waited at the state line rest stop. Truck idling. Hazard lights blinking welcome. We didn't speak. Just collided in the cab. Mouths hungry. Hands fumbling zippers. Quick. Desperate release in the front seat. Windows fogged. World outside irrelevant. Needed that, he panted. Forehead to mine. Needed you. Ditto. But as we drove to his place, a rented trailer on the edge of town, Spartan as a barracks, the photo ghost resurfaced. Any more bullshit online? His grip tightened on the wheel. Nah. Blocked the assholes. Therapist says it's PTSD echo. Paranoia from the lies they spread. He glanced over. Vulnerable. You believe me, right? Completely. Lie? No. Trust rebuilt, but fragile as new ice. The trailer was homey in its bareness. Wool blanket on the futon. Marine flag pinned above the TV. Fridge stocked with Steinlager he'd smuggled from a buddy's care package. We cooked steaks on a hot plate, potatoes mashed lumpy, laughing over spills, domestic dream. Post-dinner, tangled on the couch to the notebook, his head in my lap, fingers tracing my knee. Ryan Gosling's got nothing on you, he murmured, tilting up for a kiss. Damn right, playful, but the movie's ache seeped in love-defying odds. Time's thief. Think we'll get old like that? Bickering over cough drops. His eyes darkened, hands stilling. Want to. But Mason. Family. The world's not kind to guys like us in places like this. Columbus, then. Or Pittsburgh. Bigger ponds. Yeah. But doubt shadowed his yes. Night blurred to passion, slow, worshipful. His body under mine, gasps mapping constellations on his skin. After, whispers turned deep, dreams of opening a security firm, me apprenticing at a Cleveland shop with potential, futures woven, thread by thread. Morning brought coffee black, burnt toast. He drove me back Sunday, hand on my thigh the whole way. Springsteen low. We're gonna get out of this place if we just don't lose our faith. Omen or anthem, time would tell. March thawed tentative. Mud season. Earth waking grumpy. Mason's romance bloomed. Invites to double dates I dodged with work. Guilt festered. But George's pull stronger. Weekend in Cincinnati art walk excuse. Real reason his arms. We wandered galleries. Hands brushing in crowds. Anonymous. A painting stopped us. 2 men in shadow. Embrace half-lit. Title unspoken vows. Us, he said soft. Us. Kiss stolen in an alley. Rain-slick bricks at our back. But cracks spidered. One night, post-love in my apartment. Rare. Him venturing north, my phone buzzed. Dad, need you home. Now. Urgent. No details. Go, George urged, kissing my temple. Family first. Dad waited in the kitchen. Face ashen. Bottle half empty. Your mother's sick. Cancer. Stage 3. Words landed like shrapnel, ovary. Spread fast. Treatments starting dawn. Shit. Why didn't you? Rage. Grief choked. Didn't want to worry you till sure. His hand on my shoulder. Rough. Rare. She asked for you, Mom. The ghost who'd left when I was 10, chasing better in Florida with a realtor named Steve. Calls dwindled to birthdays, then silence. Now this. I drove south next day, hospital sterile stink assaulting. She looked small in the bed, chemo drip beeping metronome. Alex, she whispered, hand frail in mine. My boy, we talked halting, regrets spilled, apologies traded. I failed you, she said, tears tracking. But love you still, love you too, truth, complicated. George texted support, here if you need. Calls nightly, voice steady anchor. April bloomed cruel. Mom's treatments brutal, Dad's silence deafening. I shuttled weekends, work suffering, George's visits paused. Frustration simmered. Miss you. When? Soon. Mom's rough. Understand. Love. May. Remission whispers, scans clearish, hope fragile. Relief flooded. I crashed Ohio, needing him. Mason greeted at the door, grin wide. Bro, been ghost. Mom's got ribs on, Riley's coming. Shit. Cover blown? No, Riley chattered. Mason oblivious. George arrived late, eyes devouring me across the table. Post-dinner, backyard fire pit crackled, stars pricking black. Mason and Riley canoodled on a log. George and I fetched wood, hands linking in the shed's shadow. Missed this, he growled, pinning me to the wall, kiss bruising. Missed you, friction frantic, release hushed. But Riley's glance from the fire, curious, lingering chilled. Paranoia, June sweltered, summer thick as molasses. Mom stable, treatments monthly now. I breathed, diving back into us. Week in the trailer, lazy days fishing the creek, nights raw and real. He opened more letters from his CO, veiled threats post-discharge. The night he almost ate his gun, stopped by a buddy's call. You saved me, Alex. Without knowing, tears stung. We're saving each other. Independence Day, Hargrove Bash, backyard packed with kin, uncles grilling, cousins chasing kids. Fireworks boomed, but tension hummed. Mason announced engagement, Riley's ring glinting, cheers erupting. I hugged him fierce. Proud. Man. George's toast. To family. Blood and chosen. Eyes on me. Loaded. Post-party. Attic again. Fireworks popping outside. Our own exploding inside. Marry me, he joked. Dog tags cool against my chest. Not joke, I countered. Serious. Someday, his kiss sealed it, vow without words. July scorched. Jobs grinding. Dad offered partnership. Time to settle. Son. Tempting. Roots deep. George pondered Toledo gig. Security firm scouting vets. Closer to you. Perfect. Plans solidified. Future tangible. August storm hit literal. Tornado warnings. Sirens wailing. I hunkered with Mason, Riley away, house rattling. George called frantic. Trailers in the path. Get here. Drove through sheets of rain. Wipers slapping futile. Found him boarding windows. Face grim. Stay, he urged, pulling me inside. Storm raged. Winds howling. Power out. We huddled by lantern. Bodies heat. If this takes me, he said. Voice steady. No, I. Shut up. Kiss fierce. Claiming life. Storm passed. Trailer scarred but standing. Us too. September cooled. Leaves turning traitor. Mom visited first time in years. Hargrove's welcoming. Linda's pie. Mr. Hargrove's quiet nod. Family, she said, eyeing George and me subtle. Did she know? October. Climax brewed. Mason's wedding planning frenzy. Tux fittings. Bachelor bash. Vegas. Boys. But George begged off. Old wounds. Meaning crowds. Closets. I went solo. Vegas neon blurring sins. Strip club haze. Mason stripping down to a thong on stage. Laughter roaring. But midnight. Alone in the suite. George's call. Hate you there without me. Miss you. Hand down pants. Phone pressed close. Mutual release. Voices husky. Back. Wedding weekend. Small town church. Riley radiant. Mason beaming. I stood best man. Vows echoing my unspoken ones. Reception barn dance, boots stomping. Cake smeared. George cornered me in the loft. Run away with me. Now. Tempted. But Mason's dance with Riley joy pure anchored. November grade early. Thanksgiving looming. Mom hosted neutral, Florida flight. Truces tentative. But Dad pulled me aside pre-flight. Saw the way you look at that Hargrove boy. George. If it's that, own it. Life's short. Shock. How? Been around. Gruff shrug. Just. Be happy. Tears pricked. Coming out. Halfway. Holiday at Hargrove's. Turkey. Toast. Tension. Mason and Riley announced pregnancy. Cheers. Hugs. George's hand under table. Squeeze tight. I sang our turn. Post-feast. Walk in woods. Leaves crunching. Breath fogging. I want it all, he said. You. House. Dog. Fuck the world. Me too. Kiss in the clearing. Snow flurrying first of season. December danced in. Lights twinkling promise. Mom scans clean miracle whispers. We planned. My move south spring. His Toledo start January. Ring shopping online subtle. Silver bands engraved ANG. Christmas Eve. Drive to Ohio. Duffel packed with gifts. House aglow. Carols piping. Mason greeted. Baby bump subtle on Riley. Uncle Alex. Tease light. Dinner merry. But George's gift to me, under tree. Wrapped plain. Keychain with trailer key. Home, he mouthed. Mine to him. Leather journal. Pages for dreams. Write our story. Night. Guest room. Slow love. Candlelit. Forever, he breathed. But dawn betrayed. Phone buzzed, unknown video clip. George. In a bar. Kissing another man. Not staged, real. Recent. Time-stamped last week. Heart plummeted. Who? Confrontation brewed. Stormier than any. The video looped in my mind like a bad acid trip. Grainy footage from some dive security cam. George's lips locked on a stranger's. Hands fisting shirts. Bodies grinding to a jukebox wail I couldn't hear but felt in my bones. Timestamp. Last Tuesday. When he'd texted working late. Love you. Betrayal's knife twisted deep. Carving out trust we'd built brick by bloody brick. I didn't confront right away. Christmas morning exploded domestic. Wrapping paper carnage. Kids shrieking over toys. Linda's cinnamon rolls steaming sticky. George played Uncle Perfect. Ho-ho-hoing with Mason's nieces. Carving ham with Dad precision. His eyes sought mine across the chaos. Sparkling with our secret. keychain jangling in my pocket like accusation. I forced smiles, gut churning, the video burning a hole in my deleted texts. Post-brunch, walks in the snow-crusted yard, snowmen rising lopsided. Mason lobbed a snowball, nailing my shoulder. George tackled him laughing, brotherly pile-up. I joined half-hearted, powder exploding, but when George's hand brushed mine in the fray, innocent to them, electric to us, I flinched. He paused, brow furrowing. You okay? Fine, lie thin as ice. Just cold. Inside, eggnog spiked, carols droning. I slipped to the porch, phone in hand, replaying the clip silent. The bar recognized it, rusty nail, halfway between his trailer and Toledo, vet haunt. The guy, buzz cut, tats peeking, face blurred but body language screaming regret fuck. Door creaked, George, mug steaming. Hiding, teased gentle, arms slinging my shoulders. Needed to shatter it. Who's he? Voice flat, holding out the phone. His face drained chalk white, mug tipping, nog splashing boots. Alex, shit. Where'd you? Doesn't matter. Explain. Arms crossed. Wall up. He raked hands through stubble, eyes darting like cornered prey. It was nothing. One night. After a job interview, nerves, beer, bad call, words tumbled, pleading. I was scared. Us getting real, moving in, and what if it blows up, like the core? Needed to. Prove I could still play straight. No. Gay. Whatever. Stupid anchor to the old me. Prove. Rage boiled. Hot as hearth fire inside. By cheating? While I'm up to my elbows in mom's chemo runs. God. No, didn't think. I'm sorry. It meant jack shit. He stepped close. Hands hovering. Not touching. You're it. The only. I shoved him back. Chest heaving. Bull. You think I'm some placeholder? Till the world's ready. No. Desperation cracked his voice. I panicked. Love you too much to fuck it up. So I. Self-sabotage. Therapy word for it. Save the shrink talk. Snow swirled. Biting. Mason finds out. It's over. Everything. His eyes welled. First tears I'd seen. Marine unbreakable fracturing. Don't. Please. I'll do anything. Cut ties. Go cold turkey on bars. Just. Us. I wanted to believe, did. In flickers. But the scar ran deep. Need space. Turned. Boots crunching away. Leaving him in the flurry. Afternoon dragged. Gift exchanges mechanical. My laughs hollow. Mason sighed, I'd. You two fight over the last drumstick? Joke? But probing. Nah. Turkey coma. Deflect weak. George kept distance. Orbiting edges, refilling drinks. Chasing kids, eyes pleading dog-like. When Linda called carols, he sat beside me on the piano bench, pinky linking mine hidden. Silent apology. I didn't pull away. Night fell heavy, house settling to snores. Guest room door clicked, him, shadow in flannel pants. Can't sleep, voice small. Talk. I sat up, sheets pooling. What's to say? You broke us. He knelt, head in my lap like supplicant. I know. Weak. Scared. Grew up here, town that whispers fag at anything soft. Core hammered it, tough or target. You make me want soft. But old habits die ugly. Tears wet my thigh. Hate you for it. I know. Fingers traced my knee. Hate myself more. We talked till gray dawn, confessions cascading. His CO's assaults detailed, the discharge trials gaslighting, bar nights drowning shame. That guy, faceless. You, home, pity softened rage. Promise no more, swear on my tags, pulled them from under his shirt, pressing into my palm. Cold metal, warm vow, kiss tentative, forgiveness tasting salt. Love making gentle, reclaiming bodies slow, eyes locked, mending fractures. Boxing Day, I drove north, his goodbye kiss lingering at the truck. Call me, he urged. Every day. Will, window down, snow chasing, heart mending tentative. January iced over, Toledo job landed. George starting Monday, security patrols for a warehouse. Texts constant, first shift done. Missed your voice. Calls nightly, voices husky, bridging miles. Mom's follow-up glowed good, remission holding. Dad's nod approving, proud, son. Whatever path. Mason's check-in, weddings march. You bringing a +1, tease, but loaded. Working on it, half-lie. February thawed our rift weekend in Toledo. His new apartment. Boxes stacked, bed unmade. We unpacked laughing, framing the journal I'd gifted. Pages now filled with our lists. Hikes in the Cuyahoga, beach trips to Erie, someday a cabin up north. But March wedding loomed storm. Mason's big day barn venue, spring blooms forcing early. Rehearsal dinner, Hargrove's hosting, tension thick as gravy. George and I played straight, backslaps. No touches, but Riley's mom chattered. You two seem close. Roommates, best buds, Mason boomed, arm around me. Oblivious shield. Dinner toasts, love eternal, family bonds. George's eyes across the table, soon ours. Wedding day dawned perfect, blue skies, lilacs scenting air. I straightened Mason's tie in the groom's room, mirror reflecting nerves. Scared, I asked. Terrified, grin shaky. But right. You? When's your turn? Someday. Got time. Ceremony choked me. Vows echoing. Rings glinting. Riley's walk. Mason's awe. Reception swirled. Dances. Cake. Drunk uncles. George pulled me for a spin. Bro dance. Cover bodies close. Whispers hot. Can't wait to make it real. Midnight. Sparkler exit. Mason and Riley fleeing to honeymoon. Car festooned. We lingered. Fireworks popping distant. In the empty barn. Hay bales soft. We consummated promise. Urgent. Unbound. Stars wheeling above. April bloomed betrayal sequel. Anonymous email. More pics. George at the nail again. Same guy. Different night. Fool me once. Attached. Audio snippet. Moans muffled. Names gasped, mine. Not. Fury volcanic. Drove south unannounced. Trailer dark but truck parked. Inside. He slept. Peaceful. Damning. Shook him awake. Phone thrust. Again. Eyes bleary to wide horror. Alex, no. Wait. Save it. Voice steel. Twice? With him. Once. Last week. Job stress. Toledo's scene. I slipped. Tears instant. Swore I'd stop. But the pull old coping. Not love. Never. Love. Snarl. This ain't it. Paced the cramped space. Rage caging. Mason's hitched now. World's shifting. Why sabotage? Scared you'll see me. Broken. Not hero. Voice raw. Better I break it than you. Too late. Grabbed keys. Storming out. Engine roared. Tires spinning gravel. Tears blurring taillights. Radio wailed Mellencamp. Ain't that America? Irony bitter. Cleveland welcomed cold. Apartment echoey. Bed vast. Texts bombarded, please. Talk. Voicemails cracked. I quit the bar. Blocked everyone. Therapy twice weekly. Come back. Ignored. Walls up. Mason called. Heard you fought. George is wrecked. Says he fucked up bad. What gives? His mess. Deflect. Guy stuff. Spill or I sick Riley. Laugh. But worry under. Later. Hung up. Gut twisting. Brother against brother? No. Week 2. Dad cornered at the garage. Oil change bay. Wrench in hand. Boys calling me. Begging for advice. Says he loves you. Yeah. I said it. Clock's ticking. Alex. Don't let pride bury good. Dad. Floodgates. Spilled it. Everything, the nap. The kisses. The betrayals. He listened. Grease-black hands still. World's cruel to hearts like yours. But love fights dirty sometimes. Question is, worth the war? Worth it? God, yes. Drove south dawn. Resolve steel. Trailer quiet. He opened door hollow-eyed. Unshaven. Alex. No words. Pulled him close. Kiss bruising forgiveness. Last chance. I warned. Inside. Clothes shedding. Promise. Bodies crashed. Desperate reclamation. After. Tangled. Quitting Toledo. Coming to you. Start fresh. No. Hand to his chest. Fight with me. Here. Eyes lit. Together. May mended slow. Him crashing my place. Job hunting local. Therapy joint sessions. Unpacking closets. Triggers. Trusts. Mom met him tentative tea. Her nod. Strong soul. Hold him. Mason confronted post-wedding brunch. Riley spilling suspicions. You and George? For real? Swallow. Yeah. Long time. Hurt flickered, betrayal sting. Why hide? I'm your bro. Scared it'd break us. Idiots. Hug fierce. Breaks nothing. Just don't fuck him over like he did you. Working on it. June healed. Joint lease on a loft downtown. Exposed brick. View of the river. Housewarming sparse. Mason/Riley. Parents orbiting. Dad's handshake to George. Hurt him. I hurt you. Fair. Grin wry. July independent. Rings exchanged quiet. Backyard creek. Dog tags witness. Marry me legal someday, he vowed. Someday now. Kiss sealed. August storm tested. His XCO surfaced. Letter. Threats veiled. Come out. Ruin you. Panic spiked. Old habits beckoned. Bar stool. Beer. But he called me instead. Rough. Pick me up. Diner wait. Coffee shared. Chose us. Pride swelled. September stabilized. Job steady, me foreman. Him private security. Trips. Cabin rental. Leaves flaming. October whispered winter. Mom's checkup clear. Family fused. Hargrove's Thanksgiving. Toasts inclusive. George's hand in mine open. November grade. But us golden. Anniversary nap echoing that first body's lazy. Love deep. December danced closure. CO exposed. Online forum. George's story viral. Support flooded, he testified. Justice inching. New Year's Eve, rooftop. City sparkling. To us, clinking flutes. To forever. January 2026 ushered in like a fresh blueprint. White snow dusting the loft windows. The Cuyahoga River below frozen in silver veins, mirroring the clean lines we'd sketched for our life. George woke me with coffee steaming on the nightstand. His body spooned warm behind mine, lips brushing my shoulder. Morning, husband, he murmured, the word still electric, unofficial but ours. We'd filed papers in secret, Ohio's laws inching forward. A judge's nod in a backroom ceremony 2 weeks prior. No fanfare, just vows whispered over takeout tie. Rings simple platinum bands etched with coordinates of that first nap bed. Smells like heaven. I rolled into him, kiss lazy deepening to heat. Mornings like this were sacraments, bodies reacquainting, size mapping the year's scars. Post-love, we lingered tangled, his fingers tracing the tattoo I'd gotten last month. A compass rose on my ribs, arrow pointing true north, him. Work called me to the shop, blueprints unrolling for a custom Harley Dad greenlit. Him to patrols, earpiece crackling dispatches. But lunch synced. Corner deli, turkey clubs and gossip. Mason's ultrasound today, he said. Pickle spear paused. Boy or girl bet? Girl. Riley's got that glow. Grin shared. Brotherhood mended. Mason's texts now baby name polls. George's replies uncle emoji floods. Afternoon dragged oily, client nitpicking fenders, but quitting bell brought freedom. Home to the loft. Smells of garlic and basil wafting. George at the stove in nothing but boxers and apron. Marine muscle flexing as he stirred risotto. Fancy night, I teased. Arms circling his waist. Chin to shoulder. Anniversary month. Winked over steam. Plus, Mom's recipe. Nail it. She knights me. Dinner candlelit. Table scavenged flea market. Wine from a vineyard trip last fall. Talk flowed easy, his promotion whispers. My expansion pitch to Dad. Then deeper. CO trial update. Deposition scheduled. Justice's slow grind. Scary, I asked. Hand over his. Terrifying. Thumb stroking my knuckles. But you're my armor. Dessert devolved to countersex, risotto forgotten. Bodies urgent against granite. Laughter after. Cleaning spills with dish towels. Love this, he panted. Us. Messy real. February bit back cold. But warmth indoors. Movie marathons. Brokeback revisited, not for pain, but triumph. Our story's better, he said. Head in lap. No mountain regrets. Mom's visit mid-month. Train from Florida. Dad tagging reluctant. Loft tour. Our photos framed. That alley kiss cropped discreet. Bed made hasty. Tea in mugs chipped. Her eyes sharp. Happy looks good on you. Alex. To George. Keep him laughing. Deal. Grin boyish. Dad grunted approval over beers. Boys solid. Like a good weld, no weak spots. Post-visit. High on normalcy. But March stirred ghosts. Mason's baby due any day. Hospital vigil texts. We drove down. Waiting room limbo. Linda pacing. Mr. Hargrove stoic. Labor dragged. At 3 a.m. Cry-pierced, girl. Rosie. Named Harper Elise. First hold. Mason teary. Riley beaming. George cooed Uncle Soft. I snapped pics. heart full. Your turn, Mason teased. Elbow nudge. Someday. Adoption maybe. Real talk. Future forward. Drive home dawn lit. Hand in hand. Kids, he mused. Scary good. April bloomed tentative, trial loomed. George's nerves fraying. Sleepless nights. My arms his haven. What if they drag it all up? Voice small. 2 a.m. Then we face it. Kisses punctuation. Together. Court day. Downtown Cleveland. Marble halls echoing footsteps. He testified steady voice even recounting assaults. Discharge lies. The bar as self-medication. Me in the gallery. Heart in throat. Cross-exam brutal. Lawyer sneering lifestyle choices. But George's eyes found mine. Anchor. Verdict weeks later. Settlement. Reprimand public. Headlines flickered. Marine vets justice for assault survivors. His story catalyst. Lines drawn. Relief party. Loft packed. Mason toasting with sparkling cider. Harper duty. Parents mingling awkward charmed. Riley's folks nodding progressive. Laughter loud. Cake smashed. Midnight. Balcony. City hum below. His head to my chest. Free, he whispered. You were always. Kiss under stars. May mended further, therapy tapered. Confidence blooming. Weekend getaway. Cabin in Hocking Hills. Zip lines and hikes. Trails mudslick. Hands linked open, no hiding. World's changing, he said, overlooking ravine. Or maybe we are. June sweltered. Harper's baptism. Church small. Family full. Godparents us honor weighty. Mason's vow, you too. Models. Messed up, but real. July Independent Redux. Road trip east. Philly's Liberty Bell to DC's monuments. Hotel nights anonymous hot. Days hand-in-hand touristy. Marriage equality tour, he joked. But eyes serious. Ours anywhere now. August stormed literal. Thunderheads rolling. Power outages citywide. Loft candles flickered. Takeout cold. We played cards by flashlight. Bets stripping layers. Full house, he crowed. Claiming prize. My body mapped slow. September schooled normal. Harper's first crawl vid spamming group chat. Dad's garage booming orders. George's firm expanded. Training program for vets. His brainchild. Helping the broken, he said. Like you helped me. October chilled crisp. Foliage drives. Cider mills. Mom's annual clear. Family fused tighter. Holidays plotted joint. November thanked abundance. Table groaning turkey. Harper in high chair gumming peas. Toasts evolved to survivals, to loves earned. December wrapped generous. Gifts thoughtful. Me a leather jacket. Him custom tags rechained. Christmas Eve. Drive to lights display. Truck bed blankets. Cocoa steaming. Fireworks popped New Year's early. His hand in mine. Best year. First of many. 2026 closed circle. Nap echoes. But evolved loft bed wide. Bodies fitted perfect. No storm outside. Just us tempest tamed. Love humanistic hearth. Betrayals forged stronger. Conflicts carved depth. Romance rooted real. American dream. Queered and claimed. Two men. Ohio heartland. Building forever from fractures. In the quiet, his breath even against my neck, I whispered to the dark, nothing's the same. And it's perfect.